Rosie O'Donnell's all fired up again, and this time it's about the British situation. Essentially, she blames the UK for their sailors actually being captured or becoming hostages by Iran in the Persian Gulf. Listen to this from The View this week.
There were 15 British sailors and Marines who apparently went into Iranian waters, and they were seized by the Iranians. And I have one thing to say: Gulf of Tonkin. Google it.
Okay, thank you, Rosie. Well, we did, but the Gulf of Tonkin, which O'Donnell just referenced there, was a 1964 U.S. naval engagement. It ultimately led to President Johnson getting authorization to use military force in Southeast Asia. So is Rosie just trying to imply that the British are actually trying to force on another war? Well, there's this from her blog. We're going to read it to you, then you can decide. Here's what she says. The British did it on purpose. They went into Iranian waters as the U.S. military builds up on the Iranian border. We will be in Iran before summer, as planned. Sergeant O'Donnell, thank you for your advice. So is it time to gag Rosie after all? Well, joining me now, WPRO radio talk show host John DePetro. John, thank you so much. All right, so before I go to my calls, let me just first ask you about what you think about Rosie's platform to come out and continually say these anti-American statements on national television for all the terrorists to tune into and listen.
Julie, it goes beyond that. I mean, in talk radio, when you have someone that talks about Building 7, which she does, that's a conspiracy nut. She talks about 9/11, that Building 7 was set up by the government, there were explosives. No reasonable person would think that President Bush, Vice President Cheney, would set in motion Americans to be killed. ABC has a responsibility to get this conspiracy nut off the air. This goes beyond just a point of view or feud with Donald Trump.
Right.
This is enemy propaganda on what is supposed to be a light chat show.
Okay, and John, for those who aren't exactly sure what you're talking about regarding Building 7, she went on this View basically to say that Building 7 came down because, as you said, there were explosives inside, but here was her scientific analysis as to how that happened. She said that never in history does fire melt steel. Now, she then said that she wanted to welcome somebody from Harvard to come on and try to prove that, but I don't recall her having somebody from Harvard on to prove that theory. I am not a mechanic and I am not an engineer, but I do know that steel is formed into different shapes in order to build things. In order to turn it into some sort of shape, you do have to melt it, and to melt it, you have to apply heat. Are you getting my picture here? Is Rosie crazy?
I am, Julie, and the 9/11 Commission went into that. You know what ABC should start to have on the Chiron? If they had Sean Hannity on, they would say conservative Sean Hannity. For Rosie O'Donnell, they should start to have conspiracy nut. And what ABC should do, if they're not going to fire Rosie O'Donnell, then they should fire Elizabeth Filarski, because she is no match for Rosie O'Donnell. They should have on Ann Coulter or Michelle Malkin or some other female who could put her in her place.
You know, I think it's also
point of view. This is enemy propaganda, Julie.
I also welcome the rest of the media out there to cover this story this week, and I wonder how many media outlets outside from fair and balanced ones will actually give this story some thought, because, you know, this isn't the first time that we've heard the liberal media take advantage of their position. Remember when Bill Maher was fired from ABC after saying that the 9/11 hijackers had courage? He lost his job. Should Rosie? Let's go to the phones. I've got somebody on the phone. Marcia from Illinois. Should Rosie be out of a job, Marcia? Marcia, you there?
Yeah, this is not Marcia. This is March from Pennsylvania.
March from Pennsylvania.
Go ahead, March.
All right, well then go ahead.
I think they ought to dump her real fast. If anything needs to be melted, it's her. Because I'm sick and tired of all these star types trying to mouth off stuff they know nothing about.
And I don't know if they have enough fire to melt her.
Huh? I agree. They probably don't. But at the same time,
Julie,
there is an element in society that will pick up on her and say, well, maybe she's got something there. She's got nothing there. She's a zero.
All right. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Julie, she also went on to say on The View that she gets all her news from outside the United States, that all the networks are involved in propaganda. I wonder how ABC News feels with Charlie Gibson finally getting some headway in the nightly news, and now her to say that ABC News has no credibility. ABC just can't allow her to be on, and this is in fact, people should understand, she is giving enemy propaganda over the airwaves of ABC Disney.
All right, and just for the record, we did have somebody else to come in and voice the other side, but that person didn't show up. I'm not going to name their names, but we did have somebody who was booked.
Rosie O'Donnell?
Yeah, no, it wasn't Rosie. There's actually one other person out there besides Rosie that believes she should keep her job, and I promise you I'm going to try to get them on the show so that we can hear the other side. I'd love to hear it. All right, thank you so much for talking to us.
Good to be with you, Julie.